there, it is time for some math, and this week you learned how to multiply mixed numbers together. So we're gonna do some practice with that today. You're gonna do the same problems that the kiddos are doing in class. So don't worry, you're not getting extra work or anything, I promise. I am gonna have you do this on lined paper and turn it in to me, just because those in class are turning in this assignment as well, and I wanna keep it even. So if you could please get some paper. You could do this in your spiral and then tear it out when we get to class, but you are going to be responsible for turning these problems in. And we're going to do what we usually do, where I'll show you one at a time and we'll check it after each one. I like to do that instead of just giving you the problems, because that way if we make a mistake early on, we're able to fix it. So we're not making the same mistake over and over again for all the problems and finding out later. So at the top of your paper, you can write Unit 3, Lesson 5 practice, and then put your name on it. Go ahead and put your name on it right now. I'll write my name too. Mrs. Trombley. And hopefully you have your name also. So go ahead and write a number 1. You should number these, so it's easy for me to check it in to make sure you have everything all set. So number 1, I want you to do 2 1/5 times 1 2/3. And hopefully you've already done your bell work today and checked that, because that was a nice review of how to multiply these things. So press pause and then press play when you're ready. Okay, so first things first, we need to change this into an improper fraction. We do that by taking the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator every time. So 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11/5 times 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5/3. Now I'm going to check this out to see if I can cross simplify anywhere, and I notice that I have the same digit diagonal from one another. So I would definitely divide those 5s both by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. I can't do anything with 11 and 3. So now I'm ready to multiply. 11 times 1 is 11, and 1 times 3 is 3. I see that it is improper. So I'm going to ask myself, 3 times what gets me closest to 11? And that is 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and 9, 10, 11. It's 2 away out of 3. So you should have 3 2/3 for number 1. If you got 55/15 and then switched it, it's okay, but you still would be able to simplify it down to 3 2/3 at the end. Okay, here is your next one. 3 3/5 times 1/4. Go ahead and press pause and press play when you're set. Okay, we should have changed this to 5 times 3 is 15 plus 3 is 18/5 times 1/4. Now you take a look. 1 and 5, I can't do anything. Now 18 and 4, I can. It's not 4. I know 4 times 4 is 16, but 4 and 18 are both even. 2 goes into both of those. So you could have divided them both by 2. If you wrote 18/20 and simplified it down, that's fine also. Okay, you'll get the same answer as me. But we could have said, well, 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. And 9 times 1 is 9, and 5 times 2 is 10. So if you had 18/20, you would have been able to divide both of those by 2, and you get 9/10 at the end as well. My kids at school are doing this as a versatile, so they're forced into the 9/10. I do want you to have the 9/10. Okay, next one, 1 3/4 times 2 1/2. Write that problem down. So write a number 3, circle it, 1 3/4 times 2 1/2, work it out. Okay, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7/4. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and my denominator stays. Now, before I go multiplying across, I'm going to double check to make sure I can't cross simplify. 4 and 5, no. 7 and 2, no. So I can go ahead and say 7 times 5 is 35, and 4 times 2 is 8. And now I have an improper fraction. I'm going to change that to a mixed number. So 8 times 4 is 32. That's going to get me closest to 35. And 32, 33, 34, 35 is 3 away from 35. So 4 3/8 is what you should have. All right, next I have 3 2/5 times 1 1/2. Go ahead and pause me and press play when you're ready. 15, 16, 17/5 times 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3/2. Okay, so now I'm looking, let's see here. 17/5, 3/2, so 5 and a 3, 17 and a 2. Doesn't look like I can do anything there. So we actually have to take 17 times 3, okay? I know it's tricky, but I know you can do it. So I'm gonna do 17 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. 3 times 1 plus 2 is 5. So 17 times 3 is 51, and 5 times 2 is 10. Now, that's improper. I know that 10 times 5 gets me closest to 51, and there's 1 left out of 10. So 5 and 1/10 is your answer for that one. Okay, keep on moving. We've got number 5 now. Here's number 5, 2 1/4 times 4/5. Go ahead and work it out. Press play when you're done. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9/4 times, and that 4/5 just stays just like it is. I'm gonna double check to see if I can cross simplify. I see a 4 and a 4. I like when that happens. I can divide them both by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 9 times 1 is 9. 1 times 5 is 5. And now I've got to simplify. If you didn't cross simplify, then you have 36/20. You'll still end up getting the same answer as me at the end. You'll just have to work a little bit more at simplifying it. So 5 only goes into 9 one time, and there's 4 left over out of 5. So 1 4/5 is what you should have. Next, write a number 6 down. 1 1/5 times 1 3/4. Solve it up. Press play when you're done. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6/5 times 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7/4. Now, at first glance, you might think, I can't cross simplify anything. But 6 and 4 are both even and divisible by 2. So you should divide them both by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now I'm left with 3 times 7, which is 21, and 5 times 2, which is 10. If not, you would have 42/20, and you'd get the same answer in the end. 10 times 2 is 20, and then there's 1 left over out of 10, so 2 1/10. Here's your next one. 1 1/2 times 1 1/2. Write down a number 7. Write 1 1/2 times 1 1/2. And you solve it first. Please try to solve it first on your own. Don't just copy down what I write. Try it on your own. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3/2, and I got another 3/2. You can't cross simplify here, and you're not allowed to simplify these 2 3's. One has to be in the denominator in order to simplify the fraction. So nothing we can do. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. I just have to simplify that. And 9/4, 4 times 2 is 8. And there's 1 left to get to 9 out of 4. So 2 1/4 should be your final answer. Right, number 8. Oh, I got a whole number mixed in there. You have to remember what you do with whole numbers to make them fractions. Press pause. Press play when you're done. Okay, I'm going to change this 6 to 6/1. And this 2 2/3, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8/3. Now, you could go ahead and say, okay, 6 times 8 is 48/3, and then divide it out. Or you could cross simplify the 6 and the 3 before you start. 3 goes into both of those. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 times 8 is 16, and 1 times 1 is 1. And 16 divided by 1 is 16. So we got a whole number answer. That can happen sometimes, as you will see. Okay, here's your next one. Number 9. 10 1/2 times 2/7. So write down a number 9 and write 10 1/2 times 2/7 and work it out. Press play when you're done. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 1 is 21/2 times 2/7, because that doesn't change. And we definitely have some cross-canceling here. First off, I see a 2 and a 2, right? So I'm going to divide 2 by 2 and 2 by 2, and I get 1 and 1. 7 and 21. Yes, 7 goes into both of those. 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 goes into 21 3 times. So I'm left with 3 times 1, which is 3, and 1 times 1, which is 1, and 3 divided by 1 is 3. Yep. All right, here's your next one. Write down a number 10 on your paper. 3 1/3 times 3 3/5. All right, go ahead and work it out. 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 plus 1 is 10/3. And 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3 is 18/5. And we are going to cross cancel. The 10 and the 5 goes into both. 5 goes into 5 once and into 10 twice. 3 and 18. Isn't 3 times 6 18? It is. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 18 divided by 3 is 6, because 3 times 6 is 18. 2 times 6 is 12, and 1 times 1 is 1. And yes, 12 divided by 1 is 12. My favorite number of all time. I don't know why. It just is. Number 11, 1 1/4 times 1 1/9. Solve that out. Put a number 11 by it so we know that's the problem number. Press play when you're done. So you should have changed 1 1/4 to 5/4 and 1 1/9 to 10/9. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 1 is 10. Now let's see if we can cross simplify. The 5 and the 9, I can't. The 4 and the 10, I can. So you may have just written 50 over 36 and then simplified it from there. But you can divide 4 by 2 to get 2 and 10 by 2 to get 5. And now we're left with 5 times 5 is 25. And 2 times 9 is 18. Now we're going to go ahead and write it as a mixed number. I can only fit 1 18 into 25. And then 18 is 7 away from 25. So 1 and 7/18 should be your answer. And you made it to the last problem. Here's your last problem, number 12. 4 times 10 3/4. Press pause, work it out, press play when you are done. All right, I'm gonna change this 4 to 4 over 1. And 4 times 10 is 40 plus 3 is 43/4. I'm hoping that you noticed these 4s diagonal from one another and changed them to 1s by dividing them each by themselves. 1 times 43 is 43. 1 times 1 is 1. And you end up getting a whole number answer of 43. So hang on to this sheet. I'll be collecting it from you the next time I see you. I hope you have a fantastic long weekend. I'll see you soon.